you're in the give a starting lineup mood today, but is it Poole in the starting lineup?
Yeah, we'll start Jordan for Wiggs. Otherwise, same way. Steph, Clay, Loon, and Draymond.
Without Wiggins tonight, how important do you view Kuminga's role, particularly, individual defense on the wing against who they have?
Yeah, JK will spend a lot of time on Tatum and Brown, and he's been doing a really good job defensively over the last few weeks, and this will be his biggest test yet. Obviously, I mean the way Tatum is playing, and Brown too. I mean they're both playing at a really high level, and but that's that's why we like JK. He has the physical attributes to be able to guard the best players in the league, but it's all part of his experience now. As he gets more and more reps, it gets harder when you play the best players, obviously. So tonight will be a good test for him.
You had him on Luka for a while in the Dallas game. You even did this going back to last year with him. But where have you seen him get better in those type of matchups?
I think just the discipline area, not falling for tricks, not falling for pump fakes, staying down, making guys hit tough shots, and not worrying when they do hit tough shots. I mean, I think that's one of the biggest lessons all young players need to learn. It's just, especially against great players, you're just trying to make them work and not bail them out. And if they make a tough shot, you've actually done your job.
Just one more question, Kuminga. Clearly not fouling is a big thing for him. Is that the main thing? You really look at him defensively, or are there other things?
Well, there's lots of things. There's so many details. Knowing personnel, knowing who you're closing out strong to, closing out short to. If you're the weak side rotation guy, how early are you getting to that rotation, or are you a step late? Are you boxing out? Are you running the floor? I mean, there's a lot of stuff that we're looking at, but that's the point of his improvement over recent weeks. He's starting to check a lot of those boxes, and what I like about it is it's his play has matched his approach. He's been very attentive, very thoughtful, very coachable, and he's doing a good job just every single day of doing his homework and getting his work in, and the fact that he's being rewarded for it is how the process should look.
Well, Sturridge, Sport TV Hungary. What is the biggest virtue of this team after like 2 months in the season, and what is the biggest flaw?
I think our biggest virtue is our championship experience. We have a core group of guys who have won multiple championships, and the biggest flaw right now is our defense, I would say. We've always been a very good defensive team, and this year we have not been to this point, so we've got to continue to improve defensively.
The Celtics have talked a lot about how they learned from you guys in the finals about that extra level of professionalism and focus that it takes to win. As you've seen teams kind of rise and fall over this long period that you've had, what do you think is kind of that extra level that creates sustainability?
I think their continuity makes them stand out to me. The fact that they've been to the conference finals 4 times, they've been knocking on the door for a while now, and you look at the team and it's still Tatum, Brown, Smart, Horford. You just have a group of guys who know each other really well. That's pretty rare in the NBA these days. Rosters tend to change so quickly, so I like their continuity. And if you look at the history of the NBA, usually teams have to knock on the door a few times before they can knock it down. And so this is actually a pretty natural progression for them to be where they are. So they're a great team, clearly the best team in the league right now, and off to an amazing start.
Coach, what have you noticed about Boston now that you may not have seen when you were coaching against them in the finals?
Well, they're playing more people. They spread you out a little bit more. They've got 5 3-point shooters on the floor a lot, and it's really hard to help. When you bring help, they've got more perimeter shooting, so you got more space to cover. And last year in the playoffs, I thought we did a pretty good job of kind of sending help early and being able to recover to shooters. It's harder than it was last year to do that. And we'll get a firsthand look at that tonight. We've seen it on tape, but you got Horford, you got Blake Griffin right now making threes. They spread you out, and as I said, they're playing more guys. They've got a couple extra shooters out there, so they're really clicking.
Steve, when you talk about the progression of that team, it almost seems like they've borrowed some things that you guys have done over the years successfully here, the three-point volume, things like that. Do you kind of see some things that they've kind of taken from you there?
I guess. I mean, I just think that the continuity that they have and that has continued, through Brad, Ime, and now Joe. I think you sort of naturally evolve as a team, but the biggest thing is the talent level. You got Tatum and Brown, two of the best players in the league, and Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year, and all these guys year after year playing together. They've evolved and they've added. Malcolm Brogdon is a hell of a player. I think their bench is much improved. So, they may have stolen a couple of things from us. I know I've stolen plenty of stuff from them. So that's how this league works.
Coach, understanding it's 1 of 82, but this is a NBA Finals rematch, and you've been on the side where the team comes in the next year. What are you expecting from the Celtics as far as their intensity and how you guys have to match this night in a game like this?
Well, the way they're playing, I'm sure they're coming in here fired up. They should be rested, like us. We've had a couple games, but a couple days, rest to come into this game. So it'll get a lot of hype. This game will, and I think both teams will be really excited to be out there, and then go out and play another, 50 games or so, and then you go from there.
Steve, it's Bill Russell jersey retirement tonight. Do you have a Bill Russell story? I don't think you played back in the 50s and 60s, but
I just remember being on stage with him in 2015 when we won our first championship, and I was nervous to even say anything to him. He's just one of those figures who was just revered across the NBA, and he was someone who I had admired. I caught him, more as a coach late in his career. I think maybe even played against him when he was coaching Sacramento, possibly, or it might have been my last year in college. But I never really saw him play, but read a lot about him and was in awe of what he had accomplished on the court. Obviously, the greatest champion ever, but even more so off the floor, what he had done in the civil rights movement, the way he carried himself with dignity, but with a kind of this presence, this intimidating presence. And then when you cut right to the core of him, you could feel the empathy and the compassion and the strength. And he was, there's a reason we're retiring that jersey. There's a reason the NBA is honoring him the way they are. He's one of maybe the most important figures in league history.
Hey Steve, last year in the finals, you guys started auto a few games as someone with size who could stretch the floor. With this group, are you still kind of finding that? Is there one certain player, or is that kind of like a collection of players who kind of add that to you guys' rotation? Kind of like the stretching the floor with size, like he did against a team like the Celtics.
Our roster's different this year, so we're different. We're playing JK a little bit more. We're playing Anthony Lamb in that role some, but every season's different. Our team's a little bit different, so we're just trying to be the best version of us this year.
They present challenges for any lineup you put out there, but particularly with the starting lineup, obviously without Wiggins, you're going 3-guard. What are the challenges that defensively you guys kind of have to solve early in the game?
Well, you can just do the math. You look at their lineup, and one of our small guys is going to have to guard somebody who's a lot bigger than he is. So There's plenty of challenges. They're one of the biggest, strongest teams in the league, but that means they got to guard us too, and so it'll be an interesting game in terms of cross matches and transition. Potential post ups for our smaller guys to guard. It'll be fun to see how it shakes out, but watching them on tape, like I said, they've been invincible to this point, so it'll be an incredible test for us. Thank you.